boys and girls. I was talking to Mr. Andrew Pilarski earlier in the evening, and I broke out the moonshine. Very fine moonshine, indeed, as it is. So you know what? Myself, Mr. Baker, I will do an intro, believe me. We're just chatting off camera. I'm taking the cap off because it's going to be interesting. So let me take the cap off. And I'm just going to give a big cheers to my friend Stephen Baker. Thank you for hanging. Yes. Thank you for hanging out with Stirring the Pot and the fans. I appreciate that.
Of course, anytime. I love being on this show.
Woo! That's some stuff, that moonshine. This is Stirring the Pot, and a very spontaneous addition, if you will, with my very special guest, one Stephen Baker. Thank you, my friend, for coming on to the show. I appreciate your time and the old reach out. I will not reach around. Now, that'd be a different time, a different story for a different time. But thank you for reaching out. I do appreciate that.
No, of course, man. I got some stuff that I want to talk about. Like I said, we'll get into at some point during our conversation. We can kind of just spitball until then. But, I mean, there's some things that have happened over the last few months that I'm sure that people either A, may be curious about or don't know or want to know about stuff or, how León is doing, for instance, things like that. You know what I'm saying?
I'm curious on that. That's definitely going to be part of said conversation, if you will. But what I'd really, really like to start off with is I wasn't able to purchase such fine, beautiful merch as you're wearing right now. That Moonlight Sun shirt is just off the chain. I love that thing.
It's probably one of my favorite shirts, and it's not even because it's a Skyro shirt. I just love this shirt. It's a dope shirt.
I know, dude. That is a fire shirt. Not to take away from Mr. Savage, please. I don't want him to rip my head off and the spine hanging stuff. I don't want none of that happening.
No, I haven't met that dude yet. I've heard he's a really good dude in general, and I know I've seen some of his work, and he looks like he's a really good worker. Right? That's someone I'm sure I'll cross paths with sooner rather than later.
Indeed, because himself, Jay Bougie, the Faceless Ones, if I'm not mistaken, as a tag team, being Face and Sugar. I forget their names. Oh my God, they're gonna kill me. Those four talents have come out of Johnny Rod's school, if you will, and they're making their waves. They're spreading their wings, and this area, Test of Strength, was the very first show, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly, because I interviewed Mr. Savage. Their first outing, if you will, was Test of Strength on Training Day 29. So they've been really cooking and moving and grooving at all the places around us. And I'm telling you, it's been a lot of fun.
I've seen them. I haven't been there recently, just from personal stuff, taking a little bit of time off. I've seen them at XWA in videos, and I know they've been over there, which is, and go figure, I go away for a little while and new people show up. What it is. But I mean, I've seen them, and PJ Savage, for a big boy, he moves, and that's a man after my own heart because I'm the same way, man. So I love seeing when a man can move, so that gives me ideas. So, but
some fine talent coming out, and I'm mistaken. I want to say almost Mr. Savage did some work for Titan Championship Wrestling previous to Test of Strength as well. But fine talent, they've been making their ways around it. There's a new company called out The Sanctuary. I believe that's it.
The Sanctuary's been around forever, but so here's the thing about The Sanctuary. Before I even started wrestling, I knew about The Sanctuary. Sanctuary is actually one place who I still haven't wrestled for them, but one place that I'd love to wrestle out of the sheer fact that the pictures and the videos that I'm going to get will be immaculate because of the venue.
Yes. I have friended the photographer, and I have followed the Sanctuary. No, you say there's a history of the Sanctuary. I was not aware of it. Why? Yeah. I don't know why I haven't even heard of this place, but I'll tell you what really captured me was what you just ended that statement with. The visuals of those pictures and that setup is unbelievable.
That's when I first got into wrestling, like into the actual world of wrestling. I had heard about the Sanctuary maybe a couple months prior to that even. And I don't remember how, but I remember seeing a thing, I think it might have been an article about this beautiful church that was bought. And I'm like, what are you talking? So I looked at it, and there was a sanctuary. And I'm like, this place is. Ooh. When I even said, I'm like, when I start wrestling and like hopefully traveling, that is a place that I want to go to. But I will say this: not anyone shouldn't really know, but a company I worked for, I won't name any names, did not exactly like the sanctuary. So it was kind of unfortunate, but promoter pick and choose. And we'll say that the other company that I worked for gave me the chance to work some names, so I'm taking it.
Right.
But you know, it was but the sanctuary is beautiful, and that is a place I love to wrestle at one point.
It is definitely very eye appealing visually when you're looking at the videos and the photography. Johnny Moran is the champion, and my goodness, the pictures that he's been putting out on his social medias.
I know.
I can't even. My words won't give those pictures any justice. If you don't know who Johnny Moran is, shame on you. Second off, if you don't like legit know who he is, go on his page. Just check it out on Facebook or the IG, and you're gonna see this stuff, or maybe Twitter too. I'm telling you, you're gonna be like, wow, that's eye-catching stuff. And I think you might dive into the sanctuary itself and the talent that they're bringing over there.
You know, talking about Johnny Moran, I've known Johnny Moran now pretty much, I'd like to say within my first year of actually wrestling, I met him. And he actually had a lot of pull in getting me into some places outside of the state, believe it or not. One of just the nicest guys, legitimately. I brought him there. So he brought me out of state for a couple of pretty good companies. And then I brought him in. There was one day he messaged me. He's like, hey, man, any chance that you can get me booked on a show somewhere in Rhode Island or Massachusetts this weekend, because my family's going to be there and they've never seen me wrestle. I'm like, oh, wow. Let's see. You know what I mean? So I was like, I can't make any promises. And I got very lucky that NCW, they hooked it up. They let us do our thing. I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, I think he won that match. But I mean, this is family. Regardless of who won,
right.
After, and it was always one of those things where it's like, you know, I respect Johnny Moran so much for he doesn't have like a bad bone in his body, it seems like. And I'm not even just saying that. He really doesn't. The guy is just a literal fucking saint. So he deserves everything he gets. I mean that.
For real, I've always kind of got that vibe. Not in-ring. In-ring, he's kind of, we have something going on there. But out of the ring, I love me some Mr. Moran. Absolutely. Man, I feel myself and yourself, I think, you know, and I know that Mr. Leo Connors, love me some Mr. Leo Connors. He does the name game. I bet you with Mr. Baker, boys and girls, I could spitball names and we could have conversations about each and every single one of them. And this could go on probably an all-nighter, if you will.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised, but I will say this: for the people that I do not like, you'll know I don't like you, and you probably already do. You probably already. I mean, look, I really do, and I mean this. And it's been going on for about a year now. I really do try to stay as positive as I possibly can. I've been living that literally the best I can, but I'm also not going to sugarcoat it if I do not like you. It's very.
No. I have seen it on the old medias. Yes. Now, the last time we have actually spoken, it was a little different circumstance. We were celebrating the 6K, if you will, of stirring the pot, and we had a hootenanny, as the kids don't say. But we had a hootenanny, and I just spoke of this last night with one and only Mr. Izzy Starr, because I interviewed him last night. We had a blast, and we spoke of that time. He loved every second of it. Thought you jazzed him a little bit on the rules, and we did speak of that, the changing, and we're going to get into that, yes. The last time that we connected, it was the celebration of 6K, Stirring the Pot on the old YouTube channel, and I love, again, the love that you guys show me, unbelievable. But you felt that we should celebrate it in a way that was very unique, and boys and girls, if you haven't checked it out, just look it up. All you have to do is type in 6K Stirring the Pot. And this guy right here, the brainchild, the mastermind, the evil genius, the mad scientist, he put together this whole game show thing. And it was very well thought out, very creative. And I spoke of this on said episode. And it was a whole thing. And talk about a game show. It was a legit, true fucking game show that this guy came up with. And we had the one and only Izzy Star. We had Ryan Frost. We had Rob the Giant, which I didn't mention last night. We kind of played a little jazz. Never mind. And then we had Stevie Legend. And we had yourself, Mr. Baker. And, man, holy cow, what a good time.
Dude, that was, I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again, the most fun I've ever had on a podcast. Hands down. Like, don't get me wrong, man. I love talking to people. I love this one-on-one, but it was like 50% planned, 50% chaos, and I knew that going in. So, like, and I was just like, well, let's see what the fuck happens. Worst comes to worst, I mess it up, but I can't mess it up because it's my own fucking game show. So no one's going to know. And the amount of things that the point system, I didn't have a real point system. Are you crazy? Like, I mean, I didn't know who was going to win, but I just knew if you piss me off, you're losing points. If you make me happy, I'll give you a couple extra points. So, but no, that was honestly the best time I've ever had on a podcast. That was just so much fun. And then Princess Deathwish, my buddy Adden Reyes, coming out from the fucking room. He was staying here, and he was staying for the week from Utah, and just comes running in whenever I need him and just kicks people out of the Zoom call. And I just a blast, man. I loved that. Also, this is really important. Ryan Frost got his tape. He got his prize. I gave it to him at the last show.
Yes. Yep. Yes, that's fantastic. Now, he was speaking of Princess Deathwish there. Now, Princess Deathwish was his Vanna, if you will, and he came in to get rid of the people because I think I do know how now, but at then, which really wasn't that far long ago, I couldn't find out how to kick somebody out of the call. So it was a pleasure and an honor to have Princess Deathwish come up to the camera and just berate an F-bomb. Get the fuck out of this Zoom. And he was just absolutely perfect. And I love him. And not only that, I interviewed the sons of bitch after that.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that. It's just, I will say though, Don, we do have to have another game show soon. And I think that we need maybe a Rad Dad on there, maybe a Mike Skyros, some people like that. I feel like we can get a real, who's who cast of people that I want to kick the fuck out of a Zoom call. So.
You know what? I am always down for that. And I know we kind of, somebody brought this up to me just at Test of Strength. Hey, how come you didn't celebrate the 7 and the 8? And I go, well, 8, we were going to have a little something. Right. But you did take a hiatus, so I didn't kind of push that envelope. And then when you came back, I'm like, okay, I'm glad my man is back, but I'm not going to push that. And then when I seen your message today and I seen it pop up during my last interview, I go, I got to reach out to him. So
the thing was about the hiatus, it's not so much that I'm not going to be connected to the wrestling world at all. It's just that my in-ring at the moment is just it. To be very, very not candid, but to be very honest with you, is that the last year and some change, I've just been going through an identity crisis. I've been going through confidence issues, honestly, like all of us do in normal life, So, like, I think that it's better that I train my brain to be who I was before, because there was a point in time where I felt like I could step in the ring with anybody and show up and show out, and no one could deny it. And now I feel like that's not the case, and I want to go back to that. I want to get back into better shape, which I've been working on. I want to get back into, being who I was in the ring before fear of health and stuff overtook me, honestly. So that's more of just an in-ring thing. I mean, I still love cutting promos. My favorite thing, like I've talked to people before, like, you're a very good wrestler, but you are a great promo. And I'm like, I know what my strength is. So, and it's like, it is what it is, but it's not so much that I want to completely detach from wrestling. So like a podcast or even that game show is a blast. I don't even look at that as wrestling. That's just fun. So that wouldn't have been an issue. It really comes down to me making sure that I'm healthy enough mentally and physically to be in the ring and give my opponent what they deserve.
And I am so, I'm going to give you some applause there. I love how you ended that. You thought about your opponent, because boys and girls, we speak about it all the time. One of the most, right up at the top, safety for yourself, for your opponent. I love how you ended that because, and I speak of this all the time, Mr. Baker, on this show. Without this kind of don't mean jack shit because you need this and this to kind of equate and talk to one another and be as, and I hate to kind of maybe be cliche or whatever, you need to be as one with the mindset and the physical part of your body to be in that ring. And again, and I know I sound repetitive, but I do say that probably almost every single interview that I do because it's a very predominant part of the industry and it's a very predominant part of being a wrestler.
Absolutely. And you know what? My big thing about it is that anyone can realistically go into a ring, train, become a wrestler, feel good about it, whatever. But like a lot of people don't realize that when it comes down to it, especially if they're not a wrestler, I should say, the people that don't wrestle probably don't realize that a lot of people's injuries aren't always just physical. You know, like that's the way. I know it's really, you know, fucking out there to say it that way, but it's true. Like, you know, my injury, I tore my Achilles. That was an immediate blow to the psyche alone. Never mind everything else, you know, with having to heal, the depression that obviously comes along with any injury if you're down and, you know, stuff like that. But like, even with the physical injuries comes the mental problems that are going to accompany it no matter what. And I haven't personally, in my head, gone out to where I have been happy to go back in and say, let's tear the goddamn roof off. Like I had one match with, was it a 25-minute match, roughly? My first match back when I was León, when I just came back as León, with Kylon King. For the Firebrand title, we tore it the fuck up. No question asked. It was an amazing match.
And I hate to interrupt. Wasn't there was a storyline that was building up to this, and wasn't there like some weaponry involved and such?
Yeah. So there was definitely when it first started, at XWA, he took me out. He took my ankle out. I was out for obviously, like I said, 5-6 months with the Achilles tear. And then I came back as León, no longer the Black Blade. I came back as León, and I went out and beat the shit out of him. And you know, and pretty much it was a street fight that we had. We had a street fight. God, so many things that we did to each other in that goddamn match. Even, and you know what the thing was is we actually, truth be told, outside of wrestling or whatever, we thought that we were going to have another one. So we saved a lot of bigger spots for another match.
Oh, wow.
Oh, you know, if the time ever is right and comes back around, me and Kai, look, I love Kylon King to death. Maybe not the wrestler, but I love the person to death. And I will say this, me and him will make magic again, and it will be awesome. Guaranteed. When my mind is right and my body is right, it's going to be fucking something to watch.
I didn't mean to interrupt, but my brain kind of kicked in, and I remember some of that stuff that happened throughout that rivalry you had with Kylon.
He kicked me in the balls a lot. He kicked me in the balls a lot.
But yeah, again, I didn't mean to interrupt him. We got to the point of you and Kylon King getting it together in XWA.
Yeah, that was honestly, man. Kylon King is he will be on TV one day. He will 100% be on TV. The kid in general, outside of wrestling, the mind that he has, obviously still needs work. He's young, but like, man, he is naturally gifted. He knows what he's doing when he needs to do it, and he listens so damn well. And like for instance, when we were doing the street fight and we were going over the street fight, I had 90% of the ideas going into that match because, you know, I've done those matches before. He's never done a street fight before, but I mean, not to say he didn't have any input because obviously he did. But generally, a lot of it came from me. And he would be like, oh, but what if we did this, this, and this? I'm like, that's a better idea than mine. I like that. So his brain is 100% getting there. And his fucking in-ring is just, he's so good. Dude is so fucking, I can't say enough good things about that guy generally. Granted, I'd love to kick the shit out of him again. But, I mean, you know, in time, man. In time, myself where it needs to be.
Now, there's been a lot of sightings of León in the recent past here at specifically XWA Event Center. But There's also been sightings of León at NWWE, and I've been waiting. Whenever I saw your message, two things came to mind. León and Kylon at XWA, and León at NWWE, because yourself, and I'm going to go through this if you don't mind real quick. You have yourself, Ryan Frost, Big Jim Anderson, and Big Smoke, and I'm going to call him the leader, if you will, of a faction, a brand spanking new faction that's called the Humidor.
Yes, sir.
Now, you guys are presented at the last NWWE show, and you've already spoken of it real quick, like, and I'm going to touch, that's what I'm going to bring it back full circle, and then we're going to touch back on the Humidor. You have a match coming up as León going against Gangrel. My man, this is a big one for you.
Yeah. So, full disclosure, Gangrel, I actually have goosebumps just like literally saying, like, Gangrel is literally one of my favorites as a child. So the fact that I get to go in there and I get to look up the ramp and I get to hear that Brood theme music hit, and I'm in the ring and I'm the guy who he's going to fight. I'm the possible guy getting the bloodbath or getting fucking DDT'd. Let me just tell you something, man. I've had some pretty big matches in my career, short career, 3-4 years, whatever it's been now. I mean, it's actually not even that short anymore. Jesus Christ. Anyway, I've had some fucking matches in my career so far that I'm just like, no, I don't know. I can't believe I got to wrestle A, B, C, but like this one might rival the Santino one because that's how big of a deal wrestling Gangrel is. And like, yeah, first off, I'm fucking thankful for the management over at WWE because they take care of me so fucking well. As a person, as a wrestler, anything, like it's there. And like, I mean, since I've been there, my only matches have been, I wrestled Dick Lane, but then I wrestled Tommy Dreamer. Then I wrestled Tommy Dreamer and Just Incredible, and now I'm wrestling Gangrel. Like, I mean, dude, I don't know what I did for this, but I am like fucking ecstatic. I am ecstatic. As León, though, I'm going to beat the shit out of Gangrel. So, I mean,
that's what I would hope. You know, I would like to hear some of that action. But now, you do know he still does the whole goblet thing and all. Like, he's legit.
Oh, I know.
And I mean, I'm not saying that he's the same exact Gangrel as back in the day, but visually, the shirt, the music, the ambiance, the goblet, he goes up in the corner, he spits it all out. He's got his thing. His moveset may have changed a little bit, but that happens with age. But him being an active wrestler, as active as that guy is right now, my hat's off to that guy. I mean, holy crap.
110%. And I will say this, Gangrel, and I'm not just saying this about him, but I mean this, he's gotten only better with age. He's probably his best now that he's ever been. Like, I've watched some of his matches recently, like newer matches, and that guy moves way better than he did when he was in the fucking E. Like, 100%. And I'm not even just like, it's insane to me. Like, this guy, I mean, obviously the years, you know, you get the experience, you get moving, you get all this in you, but like, he really has like the Goldust thing. When Goldust like turned over, that, you know what I'm talking about. When he like became like that guy, he's like, holy shit, Goldust got like really good out of nowhere, but like he gets it now, like it's there. Gangrel's been there and has been just doing it on the indies. It's just no one's not able to see as much because it's all indies and not, you know, nationally televised. But like, he had the same approach. Like, I mean, the dude's fucking, he's in shape. He works his ass out. He ran his own school for God knows how long. Like, man, he's seriously, like, he's impressive, dude. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, but again, I need to remember that as starstruck as I may be, I need to beat the shit out of this guy. Like,
Yes.
And I'm going to beat the shit. It's what's gonna happen. So,
well, first off, congratulations on such a big match, because you do speak highly of that Santino match I wasn't there live, but I've seen enough and I've heard enough about it. That has been like your pinnacle right there. And to say that this one is really surpassing it, it's got to mean an awful lot to you. And I give you congrats on that one.
Thank you, man. And it does. Like I said, I was a huge fan of the Brood growing up. Like Gangrel was always my favorite one out of the Brood until obviously the branch off. So the fact that I get, like I said, the fact that I get to share a ring with a guy like who I consider a fucking like idol in a sense is unreal to me. And I just want to throw this out there and just put myself over. I don't even fucking care. He shared my promo on his page. So I'm gonna just say it must have been a good promo. So
nice. Nice. And I always say it doesn't take long. And if you have to practice it a couple times, practice it a couple times. But I always say, as a fan, Mr. Baker, and you, you don't have to tell you to do a promo. Just do a quick mother promo. Get your face out there. Get your words out there. Get your brand out there. It does not hurt anything. It always helps everything. I don't see why every single damn talent does not do a promo for every single show. I don't care how small, how big, part of your career. If it's somebody that you think you're more of a veteran of, I don't care. Everyone should do a promo for every show. That's just my opinion. As a fan, I feel that should be a thing.
There was a point in time where I was doing a promo literally every single week for Thursday Night Throwdown, and I called it I had a thing, and I would go through the pages, and it was like a prophecy thing, even as King León the 6th, and it was called the Book of Bow Down instead of Throwdown. So like I would every week like Book of Bow Down, Volume 3, and I'd like go from there and just make up bullshit, but it always worked. And like it's people like, what the fuck, man? Like, but like that was fun to me because I didn't have to really do anything except for put up a fucking curtain, set up my tripod, put on my crown, grab a book, and start talking. Like, I mean, realistically, it's not that hard. So take fucking 5 minutes.
And it's up here though, the creativity from one Mr. Baker, boys and girls. I feel I don't think there's an end. I don't think there's a glass ceiling. I think it's just wide open with this guy's creativity because I have seen so I can't even it's countless different ambiances, different characters, just not himself, but the people around him, different scenery, the words he uses. I mean, I could go on and on about it. The guy's creativity is just off the chain.
Thank you. Did I ever tell you about the time that I did a show as Stephen Baker? Did I ever tell you about that? Was that ever brought up to you?
No.
Real quick, I'll just give a quick rundown. The Chop Shop did like it was almost a talent show, if you will. There were matches too, but it was a talent show. Great crowd, a lot of people there, and like me, myself, Derek Simonetti, Todd Graham, who was it? Stephen was it Stephen Broad or less? I forget. I think it was Broad. Was it Broad? Yeah, Stephen Broad. Freaking Pimp Daddy Apple Cinnamon, Dick Link. We all had like a fucking 2 or 3 song acoustic set. So we were singing and playing guitar in the middle of the ring. And then we had matches. We had this, we had that magic show. It was cool as hell. Playing as Stephen Baker. And at the end of it, all of it goes awry. Like, oh no, I won that. No, I won that. And I'm like, I guess I'm here. And I'm not even a wrestler. It's me, Stephen Baker. So I went in face. I did a fucking comeback the whole 9 yards, and then at the end of the match, I pedigreed my partner and said, "You're all idiots. It's actually me, King León the 6th." It was fucking stupid.
Oh my God.
It was so much fun, man. That was a great time. That was a really good time. Holy I got slammed Dick Lane. So
was that for any specific promotion that was running out of the Chop Shop? Because there was multiple at that time, or it was just this thing you were doing.
It was just kind of an RWA thing, like, hey, you guys want to do a talent show? We're like, yeah.
That's actually where I kind of got my first taste of King León. And then I know I've spoken about this on our previous interviews. That's where I got my first taste as a Kincaid file, an interview setting. I've seen you at the XWA Center previous to that, but when I saw you at the Chop Shop, If you haven't heard, I'm just going to go through it real quick. My man has just got, literally just got done with his match. He's sweating balls because it's really stuffy in there. And he's got the whole King. He's still got the King stuff going on. Okay. He's sitting outside. It's intermission. He was the match before intermission. And I come outside and I see him. And I felt like so nervous because I've never spoken to him yet like this. And I'm like, I'm expecting a no because he's a total dick to me in the ring, because he's a total dick to everybody in the ring. But I was expecting a total flat out no. And I go, hi, Mr. León. I don't know if you've seen my stuff, blah, blah, blah. Would you care to do? He's like, yeah, I've seen your stuff. I go, oh, no shit, really? And then I get all excited. And he goes, I'm definitely down to doing it. Boys and girls, I absolutely lost my shit. I swear to God, it was like the biggest fucking name, the hottest commodity, the top talent right now, being just about being signed to the dub, or if you will. I fucking flipped shit, man. And I'm like, this dude, I fucking love to bits and pieces. His character is amazing. He can turn it on. He can turn it off at will, like a professional does. And when he turned that son of a bitch on, I'm legit behind the scenes. I'm standing behind this camera, and all I could do was not laugh at this guy because he's just so in it. He gives you 1,000% of his character and his gimmick. It's just uncanny. He's one of the guys that I will always say is 1,000% in all the time. And I love you for that as a performer and an athlete in wrestling, because not all of them do it, my man. And I applaud you for that.
Thank you. And since we're on the topic, I think we should probably get to the topic that I would like to speak about, if that's okay with you.
Yes, and before you do that, please, sir, and I know we've been going for about a half hour, and I know I've been sipping on this some bitch. I need one before you get into this.
Oh, that's perfectly fine.
Now, I'm not a drinker. This started with Andrew. We were just celebrating Andrew being such a great guy. I don't know if you're aware of Andrew Pilarski up at the Belltime Club.
I have him on my friends list. I don't think I've actually ever met him, and if I have, I'm sorry. I don't remember. I could have, but
such a nice guy.
So everybody listening, Don Kincaid already knows kind of what's going on. I filled him in a little bit, which is why we're having this. As you all know, over the last year and a half or so, maybe even 2 years now, I don't know, it's been a little while. I've been toying with new ideas. I've been King León the 6th. I've been King León the Black Blade. I have been León. And I realized something. I realized that at the end of the day, now granted, some of you might not think this is a big deal. It's a big deal to me, and I'm hoping it's a big deal to the fans. That's important. I have decided that through all these evolutions, I've questioned who I am. I've questioned what I'm doing, what I've been doing. And I think it's time that I've decided to really do what makes me happy. And what makes me happy is, 1 second, hold on. I just got an email. Hold on. Well, that wasn't what I was going to say, but I guess that works. Well, I'm going to be King León the 6th again. And I think
Wait, what?
I just want to have a little fun with that. But yeah, I think everyone can agree, including myself, as much as I love being myself. I didn't realize how much of myself King León the 6th really was until I wasn't King León the 6th anymore. You guys will hopefully be watching this on Friday. And if that is the case, then I hope you did not miss Throwdown. And that's all that I'm going to say. And if you did, then you saw what happened. If not, I don't know what to tell you. You can hit me up. We can talk more about it. But yeah, Don, I think it's time to go back to the roots of what made me happy. I think the most success came from, truth be told, and what really got people, moving. The promos, the comedy, the I can beat people up if need be, but I had it all going for me. And I just think it's time for me to find my happiness in what I truly loved doing. And that was King León the 6th.
Now, we speak evolution an awful lot on this show. I have with you as well, personally, more than once. We just saw in front of us an evolution kind of come full legit full circle from King León the 6th to the Black Blade to León. Now you're feeling, because as we've spoken, and I've talked to you about all of the characters that you've brought to the table and your evolution, and for specific reasons, why from the 6th to Black Blade, why from the Black Blade to León. Okay. Now, when we got to León, you wanted to be a tad more serious, but still throw in a little bit of comedy at the same time, but still be more of a brute, if you will, with a little more violence involved, I guess, was your bigger
Yeah,
picture there.
sure.
Now you're coming full circle to this King León the 6th character because, and I know we said this when we were off camera, I feel, my man, as a fan watching your career go from one to the another, I feel that King León the 6th was probably the most fun that you had in the ring and outside the ring. Is that correct on saying?
No, you're absolutely right. And like that was something, again, it comes down to, you know, it's growing pains. Everyone who's in wrestling can at least, maybe not everyone, but a lot of people in wrestling can admit when you have a character, you really need to start, you need to kind of go out of your comfort zone, see what you can do, what you can't do. Not to say that I couldn't do the characters that I brought as well. It was just that when I went to King León the Black Blade, oddly enough, got a lot of buzz pretty quick. I had people actually hitting me up about it in my own personal inbox and stuff, which was great. But it just wasn't for me. I wanted it to be for me. At the end of the day, it just wasn't. It took away everything that I personally enjoyed about the King, I guess, if you want to put it that way, where I can kind of be a little more, you know, the talkativeness in ring, the, you know, the yelling to the crowd. I couldn't really do that. I was more stoic and going to beat you up. And like, I was okay with it, but it didn't click with me. And granted, COVID probably didn't help where I was at.
No, that never helped anybody. But that's what I'm talking about, boys and girls. Fully invested into something. He was doing it in a totally different fashion, but still being a king, but on a different spectrum. And he just wasn't feeling it because it was feeling very forced because he couldn't express the way he was being with the 6th. Okay. So now he's King León the Black Blade. Yes, he's King León with a different venture, though. He's more of a villain than what he was doing, even though he was a jackass and a dick to all of us. He's still a different character. So he's trying to invest in this, totally not feeling it, being forced again, if you will. And then you move on to what is now León.
Yeah, and again, Leon will still be alive for a while at some places. I just want to make that very clear. Obviously, I got some work to do, but I will say, even with Leon, I tried something. Not to say I didn't enjoy it. It was just, again, even though it was me, it was still not me. It didn't feel right. It felt like I'm just becoming someone without, you know, I became someone without a purpose. The crown, even though I don't need the crown, I thoroughly enjoy being under that crown. And I know that there are a lot of kings in the wrestling world. I am more than aware. But I will say this, and anyone who wants to disagree with it is a liar. I made my own niche as a king. Even if it is a small niche, I made my own niche. And nobody can take that. Like, I can call myself, I'm the king of New Jersey. I'm the king of this. I'm the king of that. But I truly invested into being a king. And I made it my kingdom, no matter how anyone wants to look at it. And that was something that got to me. I'll be honest with you. I deal a lot with, you know, worrying about what other people think. I really do. I worry about a lot of stuff that I probably shouldn't, truthfully. But that was a big thing for me, is when King León the 6th, to me, started feeling like maybe I should do something else, was because I was listening to too many people. I really was. And I think that at the end of the day, I wasn't doing what I was doing for me. I was doing it for the people that were talking to me, and I shouldn't have done that. And in that whole process of being Leon, being the Black Blade, I kind of lost myself. And I haven't been happy. I've told people I have not been happy going to shows like I used to. I'm not excited to go to a show like I used to, and try to find and figure out where that's coming from. Well, that's where it's coming from. I needed to understand that I got to start listening to myself instead of listening to everybody else. Not to say I won't hear your opinions, but I really got to start listening to me.
I totally hear that, especially being a wrestler. Again, very invested into what you do as a character and such. So these changes, I got to say, these changes have had to have been toying with your emotions, trying to figure out what the fuck I'm doing here. Why I'm just not feeling this. And then you go to León and you're maybe feeling it, but you're still not feeling it at the same time. Now, again, I'm going to kind of circle back to this faction called the Humidor, because now you're part of this. Please enlighten me with this change of King León the 6th. And I know you said that León is going to be around for a little bit. What does this do for this new faction that's come up in NWWE?
Well, I'm going to tell you this. Big Jim, Ryan Frost, Big Smoke, those are my boys. So regardless of who I become, I'm not leaving them. Those are my boys.
Okay.
I'm not going nowhere. We are, listen, tell me another faction. And I know we're new. I know we got a lot of work to do, a lot of proving ourselves to do. Tell me another faction where every man is, I don't know, 6'2", fucking 280 pounds, that we're going to literally bulldoze everyone.
I wouldn't even be remotely an appetizer to any one of you.
That's what I'm trying to say, man. I got to if you stack us up against any faction that I can look at in New England. I'm not saying we're the best workers. I'm not saying we're the best anything. But I will say this. We're huge. We're going to beat the crap out of you. And that's what's going to happen. Like, all of us are big boys. Even Frost, he's a big boy too. Like, we're all big dudes. Like, we're going to beat you up. So, yeah. I mean, dude, I got to say this. Even Big Smoke is above 6 feet tall. And that's our manager. So, and he's the
and now Big Smoke, was I correct on saying he's the leader, if you will? And I know when it comes to factions, you guys don't want to label leaders and stuff, but I feel that Big Smoke is kind of that head, of the Humidor, if you will.
I don't want to say that Big Smoke is our leader. We all have, we all come together for our own common purpose, which we will not share with anybody. It's our reasoning. However, I will say Big Smoke is definitely the puppet master in making it all begin.
Okay. That's totally fair. So you're saying, no matter how it transitions, you'll always be with the Humidor, your brothers, because you've got this thing going on, and why kill it now? Because it's just getting off the ground. I mean, that's very evident.
Oh, yeah, no, the Humidor are my brothers. We're going nowhere.
Okay. Got that loud and clear. So bringing and I know we've been talking for a little bit. We did a lot of chit chat leading up to this, but it was a half hour of beautiful conversation with you, and I wouldn't change a second of it.
Sure.
Now, this change of King León the 6th, you've come again full circle.
Right.
This is something that you feel that this change, which is kind of not weird, but it's a change nonetheless, because now you're changing, you're legit changing from León to 6th.
Before you finish that, though it may be a change, it's going back to what I'm the most comfortable and happy with. So regardless of change, this is a change that will not affect me in the slightest bit, except for positively, in my opinion.
Oh, hey, and like you were saying, I wasn't excited to go to the shows. When you're feeling that, it's almost time to either walk away or figure something out to change it. And you, my man, have figured out something to change it, no matter if it was something that you've done previously. But son of a bitch, if it did not work for you, though, and that's kind of what I was leading to, was it really worked for you because King León the Blackblade, like you said, you didn't have that connection with the fans as such. And I'm going to give you a prime example, boys and girls. When we say boo, and I know I've said this before, when we say boo, he says, woo, thank you, woo. I fucking love that. I that is some of the most fun shit that León brings to the table. Never mind everything else. Just that alone makes me want to say, thank you for bringing King León the 6th back.
Honestly, you know what? That's my thing, man. I got to be me turned up to 11 with a little more pomposity, truth be told. Like, granted, I can be an asshole. I know how I've been in the past, but like, I still know how to be that person and be myself. I've said before, my biggest issue in wrestling before, when I got some egotistical labels, I got this, I got that, which was completely warranted looking back. I didn't know how to separate Stephen Baker from King León. I was just King León all the time. And I didn't know how to separate it. I really didn't. Luckily, over time, you kind of humble it up, you learn, and luckily I learned. But I mean, maybe a little too late for some people. I understand if they don't like me, that's fine. But like for me, I learned, I humbled up, I help everyone I possibly can now in the locker room. You can ask anyone at XWA. I try my damnedest to really, be the team player. But yeah, man, it's just, I'm excited to be able to kind of have those whimsical bullshit promos again and do this and do that. And, I'm just excited to be back to doing what I want to do. And give me 1 second. I'm sorry. I apologize.
That's quite all right. That's quite all right.
I'm still listening.
I can. That's okay. Okay. So as King León the 6th now, anybody that knows King, and I have to bring it up. Anyone that knows King León the 6th, the character transitioning into the Black Blade, there was somebody that was always the lackey, if you will, called the Squire. And another thing, I want to point out one more thing with again with the Woo. Another thing that always caught my eye, and I could fucking just piss my pants every single time, is when you wiped your feet on the poor bastard getting into the ring. I absolutely look forward to seeing that. And I know that with this transition, you are not with the Squire. What happens now that you're coming back to King León the 6th?
Well, all right, you know what? I'll tell you this. I am going to be doing a Squire search. I'm going to be putting out the word, and I'm going to have some, and there will be a Squire search.
Shut up.
Yeah, I've already got some ideas. I don't know if I'll find one, but I'm definitely going to look around and maybe bring in some people no one would expect to try to audition for them. So. Yeah.
So when you, I can just see this as a newspaper ad. Do you like to get your? Do you want my feet wiped upon your ass? Do you want me to swear and barrage you?
Allow me. I'll give you something that might actually work with. Hold on. Let's see.
Yes, please. This is great.
Have you ever thought about being a squire? No, me neither, because I'm a king. But how would you like to get paid? Absolutely nothing to serve the best king of Beheadya. Now, granted, you do get holiday pay and weekend pay, which is double your normal pay. Still nothing. But if you'd like, please, come along, be a squire, learn from the best king there is. And just remember, if you don't go, if you don't show up, it will be off with your head.
And it's not the moonshine. I love that shit to pieces. Yeah. I'm gonna put the little orbits ching at the end of that. That's gonna be a commercial. Dude, that is fucking again. Boys are good. That's what I'm talking about. On the fly, very spontaneous. Just gives us that fucking money promo right there as he's looking for a new squire. And all I had to do was mention a newspaper ad and bumble a bunch of fucking words. And he says, asshole, let me show you how it's done.
Well, I wouldn't use those words, buddy. I mean, like, honestly, man, I got some ideas for a squire search. Whether I find a squire or not is irrelevant. I also have about 3 or 4 other promo ideas planned that are going to be sequential. So I've got plenty of material ready to go when I'm ready to record. So, but that's the thing is, like, that's where my most creativity ever came into play, because here's the thing that people don't realize, or maybe they do, and I just never realize it. But as the Black Blade, as León, I had 4 walls stopping me from my promos. And like, I can't do this because I don't want to come off as this kind of character. King León never had walls. I can do quite literally any promo and be like, no, that's just King León the 6th.
Yes.
I can do Disney songs. I made a fucking eHarmony commercial called Plenty of Peasants. I made fucking like just so many things that I have done. And it's just like, it's things that I can do. There's literally no limit as King León the 6th, because I've done the most ridiculous shit. So people just assume you'll do whatever and it doesn't matter. So
I think I'm going to entitle this, oh, it's only King León the 6th. I think that's going to be the title of this one.
I mean, but but it really is. Like, that's the thing is, like, I even did a presidential smear campaign against Johnny Moran. First match. And I had fucking, I dressed myself up with a fucking wife beater with 6-pack on it because Johnny Moran's fucking rib. I painted hair on my head and started saying that I hit my grandma with her car. And Paul dressed up as Christina Marie with a red fucking tinsel wig with his guns out. Like, it was fucking stupid. But that's the shit that I love doing and miss doing. And honestly, I'm good at that stuff. So why would I not go back to what I know I'm good at and what really catches people's attention? So
absolutely endless creativity from my man, Mr. Baker.
Yeah.
My God, this now it took us 30 minutes to get here, but this past 20 minutes, holy shit, man! I'm feeling a little sweat. I've been laughing my ass off here, and maybe it is the moonshine, but my God, all of this King Leon talk, the promos, what you bring to the table, and that circles me right back to you know what? That's the title of this: 1,000% invested. That's it. I'm not changing it because for real, man, that's what we were talking about earlier, and that is the shit that really gets our attention as wrestling fans, though, and draws us in. Is that kind of stuff you were just speaking of?
And that's what I'm hoping for, man. You know, like my problem, like I said before, was the fact that I wasn't sure who I was, so I didn't know what drew anyone in because I couldn't draw myself in. So it kind of got to the point where I like, what the fuck am I even doing? I'm just getting a pop because people knew who I was before. I'm not getting a pop for who I am now. And even if I was, it didn't feel that way. So if I'm going to be me, I need to be me. And that's King León the 6th. And I mean, I've said it before and I'll say it again. There's never going to be a time in wrestling where I walk away completely. I will be dead before I give up on wrestling. Not to say in ring, but generally, I'm not going anywhere. So whether anyone likes it or not, one way or another, who knows? Maybe one day I'll run a fucking promotion. Probably will, because that's what everyone thinks the crisis is. I mean, I bought my own ring so I can do it. But I mean, fucking like at this point, I'm just whatever.
Oh my God. You just reminded me something, and I was just about to let you go. You just reminded me of something. I'm swigging this motherfucker before I even talk about this shit.
Oh, I know where this is going. Okay, yep. I was hoping I'd get away without having to talk about it, but yeah, we can continue.
Now, I'm not floating my own boat right now, but you do know I kind of got my eye on the pulse of the indie scene, especially in our immediate area, and I have caught through the grapevine.
Yeah.
I'm what is this shit that I'm supposed to be in a match? I heard it. I don't know what the setup is. I don't know what's going on. I do know that I'm built like a candlestick, a plank, a kendo stick, if you will. B, I've never taken a bump. C, I'm like 50 fucking years old. D, my joints suck balls. Like I need to take a bit for me to get awake and moving and stuff. So please, with all of that said, my friend, what the fuck is this?
Well, listen, man. All right. I just figured, you know, there's a lot of people out on the independent scene who yell at you when you're stirring the pots, and I figured some people might want to get their hands on you. And I mean, you know, you've seen pretty untouchable up till now. I mean, look, you can't have a belt behind you without defending it. So that actually, that's what I forgot to tell you. That belt's on the line in the match. I forgot to tell you. But it's contractually obligated. I got 100 likes on the status. You can't go back now. It's on Facebook. So, I mean, the way that I see it is train, have a lot of ibuprofen, maybe cry a little beforehand. I know that helps get rid of some, you know, adrenaline and endorphins and stuff. But I haven't decided what kind of match I want it to be yet. I'm probably going to, I don't know, maybe like a special ref match or a hardcore match. Maybe hardcore, because then you can use weapons or someone can use weapons. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But, you know, we'll get there. We'll get there.
No, we won't fucking get there. No, we. First off, I was a lumberjack at Battlefront Pro Wrestling a couple years back. Look, see, and I don't know if you've seen those training videos with Jay Brown, my man. All hell, El Jabroni. I can't train. Okay, I did train, and I trained like a motherfucker, but that's the best I can do.
Well, listen, I just want to make this very clear. If you don't show up when the date happens, do you know a guy named Mr. Richard Stone Esquire by chance?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So yeah, I'm going to have him sue you for everything you have, including your belt. So if you do not show up, you will have nothing anyway. In fact, you know what? If you don't show up, I am taking over complete legal obligation of stirring the pot, including the YouTube. So you have to have the match, or I'm taking everything.
Oh, well,
It's
I know
on
Richard's. I have seen that somebody pointed it out on Facebook. I'm Richard Stone Richard E S Stone. He's gonna kill me. That's awesome. Richard E. Richard E. Stone Esquire. He loves to drink my tears. So I'm just gonna have one on Mr. Esquire because I feel that was a very there's a meme, a GIF, if you will. It's this little punk gangster kid, and it says, "Well, that escalated quickly. I feel that escalated very quickly." So,
well, Don, listen. While I have you on here, before we both let each other go, because I have to leave in a moment, let me ask you honestly, because now I have to ask you the last question here.
Oh shit!
Do you accept the contractual obligation? Will you have that match? Everyone wants to know.
Well, if you don't, you've already said right here on camera that you're going to stick Richard E. Stone Esquire on me. I like to call him Smurf. But I'd rather accept the fucking match, I guess. So, yeah.
That's a yes?
Yeah, that's a yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. All right, well, good. We're going to have a Don Kincaid match, and it's going to happen. Oh, it's going to be great. Do you have a good primary care physician and or chiropractor?
I haven't had a doctor in, let's see.
Get one.
I haven't had a doctor in probably 20 some odd years.
You're going to want a doctor.
Oh, so, wow.
Yeah, you're going to want to get one. Maybe a surgeon. See, do you know any surgeons? They might help.
I know a couple on TV, but that doesn't help me.
That's not going to help at all. Hey, you know what? I'm proud of you. You said yes. That's good. That shows some cojones. That means that I'm unfortunately not going to get stirring the pot, but this is a start. Yeah. I will find other ways. I will find other ways to get the stirring the pot from you. One day I'm going to own stirring the pot. Watch.
Okay. But, I'm blaming it on the moonshine. That's all I'm saying, my man. Oh fuck.
Fine with me.
Either way, I said yes. I'm a fucking jackass. Who knows where this is going to go, boys and girls? But that's not the big picture. The big picture is King León the 6th is making his way back. Where this goes, when it starts, where it starts, how it starts, keep your eyes peeled. Yes. Follow his stuff on there. Before I do let you go, your page has gone through some changes, and I've seen that it disappeared at one point in time in between the transitions. Is your page León still up there and active?
Oh, yeah. No, it's still there right now.
Okay. I just want to make that sure because we want faces that have not seen your stuff before. Shame on you. That have not seen your stuff before to follow you. And it's just one word, capital letters, León, but it's got that little T-lay, if you will, or the little thingy, the swoopy thing over the O. Yes. And I don't know what that's called, but I think the ref is gonna jack me up for that one. Boys and girls, a fine, and I did not expect this to last an hour. Holy shit. A fine hour with Stephen Baker. We conversated like a couple goombas hanging out, talking wrestling and Mr. Baker. But then this last half hour, it gave us the big news we were working towards. King León the 6th making his return. And we're going to see where all of this goes. I drank a bunch of moonshine. I accepted some random ass mystery match. Who knows where it's at, what date it's at, what kind of match it is.
Yep.
I feel my life is in danger. We'll have to be stay tuned for that. To be continued, if you will. But again, Mr. Baker, thank you so much for reaching out to me like that, because I love when the talent, if they got some breaking news, they've got some news they want to share with the fans. I can't thank you guys and girls enough for reaching out to me, and I appreciate that.
Of course, man. And like I said, obviously I got to get off of here in a second, but keep me in mind for a fan roundtable when King León comes back, because that was a blast. And also, game show. We'll have some more talk soon. We will talk. Game show number 2. Because you got to realize, after like 4 or 5 of those getting completed, we have to have a game show of champions where all the champions come back to fight.
Oh, shit. And Ryan Frost, if you haven't seen Boys and Girls, Ryan Frost is the very first winner. We do have to do, yes, we will get that together. Absolutely. Man, with all of that said, quite the breaking news from Mr. Baker. Thank you so much for stirring the pot, for breaking that news. And this has been Stirring the Pot with Don Kincaid and my very special guest, one Stephen Baker, a.k.a., which I'm loving to say, King León the 6th. Thank you.
The beautiful, the mature, the divine, the valorful, his golden excellence, King León the 6th.
Yes, perfect way. Thank you, my friend.